Okay. Okay. Hi, Kristen and Steve. I'm so glad we're able to meet today. As you were sharing last time, you're really just struggling with a topic that you're kind of both stuck in. And so if it would be okay with you, I'd love to guide you through an exercise or an intervention. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Great. So I'd like to give you some instruction on how this is going to go. And so this exercise, Dreams in Conflict, is an exercise that's very important to help solve problems and to get out of that stuck spot. And so in this exercise, one person is going to be a speaker while the other person is going to be a listener. I'm going to give you about 10 to 15 minutes each to kind of share, but then we're going to switch the roles and the other person will be the speaker and the other person will be the listener. I just want to emphasize that this exercise is not to try to make your point across to your spouse. It's not to try to solve the problem, but it's really to just gain understanding and really hear your spouse's heart and what might be going on underneath the issue. And so during this exercise, both partners need to stay in the feelings. You know, we want to try to make sure that we're being transparent so that our spouse will understand what's really going on inside our hearts. So this Dreams Within Conflict exercise is going to involve the speaker part. And so for whomever starts off as a speaker, your task is to honestly talk about your feelings and your beliefs about your position in this situation. We want to explore what the position you're taking really means to you and what dream might be behind the position you're taking. And how we're going to do that is kind of just by hearing your story or maybe your belief and where it comes from. You must be clear and honest about how you're feeling and what do you really want in this issue. Why it's important to you. Try to make your partner understand, but you don't want to argue or try to persuade them. You want to just kind of honestly show them your viewpoint and explain how you're seeing things. And of course, that's by sharing your thoughts and your feelings. So that's for the speaker position. Any questions on that part yet?
Yeah. What if, like, my feeling is that what she's wanting me to do is ridiculous, and so I feel like she's being ridiculous? How, what would you want me to do with that?
Sure. I will help you to kind of share that in a positive light, and we will work through it step by step. I'm going to show you a list of questions that are going to kind of keep you on track.
Okay.
And we'll give you an opportunity to share your feelings in a positive way.
Okay.
So, but great question.
That doesn't really make me want to share, but okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
It doesn't really make me want to share my feelings.
Yeah, I can understand that. And, remember that right now we want to make sure that we're keeping the 4 horsemen out of our conversation, like we've talked about before. So any negative talk, we're going to kind of set that aside, kind of remain in an open space, because our heartbeat needs to be understanding one another and hearing one another. So if we can keep ourselves in that space, that would be really helpful. Transitioning to the listener's job. So the listener, your job is to make your partner feel safe enough to tell you what's behind their position on the issue, right? So we want to keep the 4 horsemen out of the way, the criticism, the contempt, the stonewalling, the defensiveness. But you want to tell your beliefs I'm sorry, you want to hear your partner's beliefs and their story, and you want to make sure that you are listening, not as a spouse, but as a friend. And then you're also going to be asking questions from the list I'm going to give you, to draw out your partner and their viewpoint and how they feel about it. You can contribute to this conversation by just being really open, but you can also shut things down if you're going to bring the four horsemen into the conversation. So let's try to listen and not judge. Don't want to solve the problem. Make sure we're not going in that direction. It's much too soon for that. So it's important to realize that the goal is not solving the problem, but just to kind of go from a stuck gridlock to having a healthy conversation about what's really going on. Any questions on the listener's position?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right, so if I could have you turn to 11-66, those are going to be sample questions. As you can see, the first portion is the listener's questions, and the second portion are just sample dreams for the dream speaker. So for the speaker.
I have a
Okay.
question.
Yeah.
So, like when the speaker is going, is the other person chiming in with these questions or?
After they're done sharing.
Okay.
Yep. So you want to ask the question and then have a moment to share without cutting off, without judging, and then ask another question to gain understanding, to gain the heartbeat of what's going on in your spouse's part.
And all that's going to take place within each 10 to 15 minutes for each person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great. Any other questions? Okay. Does somebody desire to be the speaker first?
I'm not feeling too sherry after Steve's comment earlier.
Okay. Steve, would you be willing to share first?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, Steve, as the speaker, I'd love for you to start sharing about this gridlock that you're experiencing.
Yeah, you know, when I come home, I feel attacked sometimes, and she's been wanting to go out and take these summer trips. So, you know, whether it's because we live really close by, to Castlewood Canyon, and we can go water rafting or, tubing with the kids. And it just seems like while I'm trying to think about what it is that I need to do, she's like, well, do you want to go? Do you not want to go? And it doesn't feel like an invitation. I feel attacked. So, so I guess my dream here would be that I would want to feel like included. Am I doing it right? I would want to feel included. Like my presence, like my presence was there. Like it wasn't like a by the way invitation. Like she really wants me to go so that I could think about whether I would actually want to go or not. But I get stuck in just not feeling like she even wants me to go. So.
Yeah. Pamela, I'm sorry, Krista, can you please share what you heard Steve say?
Well, I heard him say that he feels attacked by me when I'm trying to tell him that I want him there, and that he needs time to process if he wants to spend time with us in that way. Is that what you're saying, Steve?
Um, I guess I'm just saying that I want to feel included.
Okay, I'll stop you there. Um, Krista, if you would look at your sheet and ask a question, that would bring a little bit more understanding to give
Mhm.
Steve to share.
I'm wondering why it's so important for you to like have that time to process when I'll just stop there. Why is it so important to you?
Yeah, I think I just like I'm on the go all day, you know? So if I'm on the go all day, then um it just feels like something extra that I need to emotionally think about. And I really just want the invitation, like, hey, hey Steve, me and the kids were planning on doing this. How do you like that idea? Or would you like to go? I know the kids, they would love to, have you come hang out with us, or, you know, um, just stuff like that. It would just be helpful because I would feel like my presence mattered to you.
Mm.
Krista, what are you hearing Steve say?
Well, I'm kind of confused by like you need time to process this so that you feel like your presence matters. That's what I'm hearing. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Like the invitation just needs to be clearer to me. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you tell me like your dream scenario of that? Like what that exactly would look like and like the time you would be given to process?
Yeah, maybe I think the dream with that is simply to feel included first, and then that would help me emotionally kind of compartmentalize, like, hey, I am feeling included in this thing, and then I can go and think about what I have to bring. Like, do I have my trunks with me? Do the kids have their floaties? Does Krista need help in preparation? Like, I could support you better, but I want to first be able to figure out, am I feeling included, and do I even want to go?
What are
And
you hearing, Krista?
well, I'm wondering like that time frame that you need. Like what's your dream? Like I need this amount of time to process. Because I know that's where my mind is going to go. Like how long do I have to wait to get an answer?
Um, well, I mean, if I would 15 minutes be okay, or I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really feeling heard. I feel like you're trying to get to an answer. Like, I don't know.
That's good, Steve. So, Krista, Steve is not feeling very heard, feels like you're trying to solve the problem. Can you ask maybe another question from our listeners list?
Mhm. Um, do you have a deeper purpose or goal with this?
I think so. I think I want to make sure that when we're doing something together as a family, that we're feeling like more connected, and that my feelings matter, and that the kids see that you want to hang out with me, or the kids feel wanted because I've been able to identify like this is something that I want to do. And just, I don't know, just feel I don't feel like I'm put on the spot with thinking about logistics and having that all get confused. I think I just want to feel invited, and have everyone's feelings matter, since that's what we're trying to I don't know. I struggle with feelings, so it seems like that's what the purpose is. So that would help me be more purposeful in the feelings department.
What are
Yeah.
you hearing, Krista?
It's a challenge for me because I don't agree, and I know that's not the purpose of this. So I can tell I'm trying to like um you know us get on the same page. But that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. But what I'm hearing is that if I can invite you and give you space to think about what you want to do, that's going to help you feel more included and feel closer to the kids and feel more welcomed by me.
Mhm.
And Krista, I appreciate you sharing that this is a challenge, right? To set aside our personal thoughts about our spouse, but to just let them feel heard. So, Steve, as you've been sharing, it sounds like we have understood that you're looking to feel included, to be heard, and to be part of the family. And that would include having some time to make a decision, not feeling so rushed on it. Would you say that we've grasped understanding of how you're feeling?
I think so. I don't know. She seems really upset. So I mean, I think she understands it, but she seems really upset. So
Yeah, sometimes starting off these interventions are very new. And it's so hard in relationships when when we feel stuck in a gridlock, is that we're fighting our internal beliefs, and it's really an exercise to strengthen putting that aside and being able to hear our partner. So it's very understandable that Krista is feeling that conflict inside, and you're probably going to feel it as well as you start hearing her out. So I would say that that's very normal. And as we continue to work on these interventions and these exercises, it's going to get easier, but the first time is very challenging.
okay.
Do you feel like you've gotten your viewpoint out in the open?
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's give Krista a moment to share her portion. We're switching roles now.
Okay. Yeah, so it's hard for me because I feel like I do ask. And so that's part of my struggle, is that I do ask, and I feel like because I want to do more active things, that Steve doesn't really want to do those things, and oftentimes will say no, and also won't be spontaneous with me. And I just feel like I'm not as important to him, and that other things that he would like to do are more important.
I'm
And
sorry. I feel like she's not really telling me what her dream is. She's just telling me what I'm not doing. And so I'm feeling a little attacked.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, Steve. Krista, can you kind of redirect and share what you're looking for, what you need, what your belief is, your dream is?
I would love to be able to come home and say, let's all go to the park, or go for a bike ride, or go do something spontaneous to create more of a bond between all of us, but in an active way, so that we're feeling healthy and just having fun outside of the home. That would be important to me.
Okay. Steve, what are you hearing?
I'm hearing that she wants to go do things that are active and that it's important to her. She wants to be able to suggest those things when I come home.
Okay. Can you ask her a question from the listeners list?
Yeah, let me go look at it real quick. Let's see.
Sure.
So the list. Do you have any core beliefs, ethics, or values that are part of your position on this issue? Like,
I highly value
mhm,
moving my body, and for our kids and for you to move your body and to stay healthy, and for us to teach our children that we need to be taking care of our physical bodies, but also that it's fun to go and have activities and adventures in that way too. And that we don't just have to be at home looking at screens, but that we can be out in nature enjoying time together.
okay.
Steve, what are you hearing?
Um, yeah, I mean, it sounds like she's really wanting to care for the family and, you know, be active, and that nature is important to her, and being active is important, and that she wants to model that for the kids. So,
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Would you ask for another question from the list?
Well, can I add something?
Sure.
I want Steve to model that to the kids too, not just me.
so, you're wanting me to be excited about going somewhere. Um, even if I might not want to go, what you're saying is that you want me to model something, and the physical activity in nature is really, really important to implement with the kids.
Um, I'm saying that I want you to model to our children that taking care of your body is important, and going out and doing things with us in nature and doing active things is a way to model that to them.
Okay. So you're wanting me to model things that are important to you. And you're wanting me to model them too. Can you tell me why modeling this to the kids is so important to you?
So that they'll take care of their bodies too. And so they'll see that like this is an important thing to do for themselves. Not coming home and just like sitting down and watching TV.
What is the deeper, let me actually look at the question. Is there a deeper purpose or goal in this for you? So is there something deeper, like where does that come from? Am I asking her that right?
Yeah.
Where does that come from for her to want so much modeling of taking care of our bodies?
Yeah, I think that's asked well.
Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in a house where I wasn't taught that. And my parents would just come home and sit in front of the TV. And I don't want our kids to have that same experience. I want them to be able to have like active experiences with us where we're all bonding.
If
So
I
there
can
was,
interject for a moment, Krista, I'm wondering if there's an underlining fear there. Is there an underlining fear of future health issues, or where that might come from?
I mean, maybe, or maybe like a fear that like our kids won't feel connected to us because we're not spending valuable time with them.
What are you hearing, Steve?
yeah, that makes sense.
What makes sense? Can you reflect back what makes sense?
I mean, she didn't feel connected as a kid, and her parents really, you know, was just like, hey, we'll just sit in front of a TV. And so, you know, even if I'm not sitting at the TV and maybe like I just want to go to my man cave or something, she's saying that she doesn't see me modeling that for the kids. And so, you know, it reminds her of when her parents would just like not care, and she wants to kind of break that cycle, it seems like. So I mean, it makes sense.
Okay, Krista, just wanted to check in if you're feeling heard by Steve right now.
I do. Mhm.
Okay. And then I just wanted to ask Steve, did you feel a little bit of the challenging part to separate from your beliefs to hear Krista's side? Did you feel that?
Um, no, I didn't feel like that was challenging. I think just putting aside how upset she was when I was trying to share, that was challenging, but not actually listening or hearing her because I want to know what she feels. Like I care about her feelings. It
That's
just
awesome.
doesn't always feel like she cares about mine, so putting that aside was hard. So
I can see that. Well, we're going to continue to work on that dynamic of, putting aside our beliefs and really hearing the other person. So, Krista, I do hope that you are hearing that. And as we continue to work on these interventions, you will kind of work on that as well. So I appreciate you both engaging in this dream and conflict exercise. We're going to now transition to kind of discussing a possible compromise. So give me 1 second here. So, we might not solve everything, but we want to just start dialoguing a little bit. And Steve, I'll have you go first, but basically this is a compromise discussion. And for issues where a dream within a complement exercise has been used, we want to ask our partner, what areas are you flexible about? And then what areas are you not flexible about? So does that make sense, or do you need an example?
yeah, I'm lost. I have no idea what you're talking about. And why
Yeah.
why do I have to go first? Like I
I
went first
think-
last time and feel like I
Right.
got burned. So
That's fair. That's fair. Krista, would you be willing to step up since Steve went first last time?
Yes. I
Yeah,
didn't realize
okay.
that as being so hostile.
All right, all right. So basically we want to gain understanding of what part of this situation are we willing to flex about, and what part that's like, no, I'm not willing to change this portion. So an example might be like, I would be willing to go out on hikes, but I would want to know a day or two in advance so I could properly prepare. I'm not willing to go the very next hour spontaneously. So you're not willing to flex on the time frame, but you are willing to flex on going on a hike with the proper allotted amount of time. So we want to kind of, negotiate almost, compromise what would be meeting each other halfway. So, Pamela, Krista, if you would share first, what would be an area you'd be willing to flex in? And then what would be an area that you're not willing to flex in?
I mean, what comes to mind up front is that I am willing to be flexible with giving you time, Steve, to decide if you want to join us and maybe even what we do. But what I'm not willing to compromise is that like we be active with the kids in some form or fashion. And I'm willing to compromise on what kind of activities even, but not like the fact that we are going to be active with them.
Steve, what are you hearing?
I think she's saying that she wants to give me time to think about activities or if I want to go or not, but she is inflexible with like when it comes to me having to say yes, or I don't know. Is that what you said?
Well, yes, but I recognize I can't like force you to come do things. So I do like want our kids to be active. So there will be things happening. And I would like for you to join us, but I'm not going to compromise on there being like active activities for our family.
Okay. So you're wanting to give me time to think about it, and the part that you're not flexible about, and you're also willing to have me come and not do the active part, but the part that you're inflexible of is that you want me to go either way.
Not necessarily. I think what I'm trying to say is that like I am going to be active with the kids no matter what. Like I'm not compromising that.
Okay.
And I would always like for you to join us, but I will be flexible on like what those activities are. If there are certain things you like doing more of, and giving you the time to decide like if you want to come and join us.
Okay.
What do you guys do?
That she's fine with giving me time to think about whether I want to go. And she's fine with me going, and also not doing the parts that she wants to necessarily do. But the parts that she's not flexible at is the fact that she's going to do something with the kids either way because she wants to instill the activity part in our kids.
Okay. Now, Steve, what are those areas for you? Where are you willing to flex and where are you not willing to flex?
Yeah, I feel like my inflexible areas is I need time to be able to make decisions, like my decisions matter, and that I'm also included in the planning part. Like that inclusion is really important to me because if I'm at work all day, then you know, being included doesn't always happen. And so that timing part is really, like, I understand she's busy with the kids all day. So it doesn't mean I don't understand that, but it does mean that I still need to be included, and that part of it that she wants to instill with the kids, I want to plan with her. And that I just need that time to think about it. So surrounding this area, I'm inflexible with needing to feel included. I'm inflexible with I need time, at least 15 minutes to think about it. Especially if I'm not included, right?
Mhm. So, Krista, what are you hearing Steve say?
I'm hearing that the compromise will not be like you want to be included, and that's something that you won't compromise on. For me to include you in the plans and the planning of these activities. I'm not sure I have heard what you are willing to compromise.
Yeah, I think I'm willing to compromise on the type of activities, you know, just kind of having you decide the type of activities is fine as long as we've talked it out together. So if you want to decide and you're like, no, I rather hike and not go tubing, then you know, maybe I don't want to hike, but that's fine. Like I'm totally fine with you deciding to go hiking. But at least we've brainstormed like ahead of time, right? So if we brainstormed ahead of time and you've included me in the process, I'm fine with you making the final say of the actual activity. I'm pretty flexible with that.
Okay.
Krista, what did you hear?
I hear flexibility with the activities as long as we're planning it together.
Okay, well, I think we have done a lot of work today. I think that though our process has not been perfect, it's been a little messy, right? We have gotten greater understanding than when we started. And we have heard where we're willing to flex and not flex. And we can continue to work on this issue next session as well. But I would encourage you to dialogue about it this week and see if you get further understanding. How are you both feeling about this?
Feeling better.
Completely solving the problem and perfection is not what we were shooting for today, right? We're really, really stuck where we started. So anything loosening up and getting better is what we're going for, and everybody's process is different. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good about it. It gives me a little bit of hope that we have a template to discuss things at home. That maybe it won't be perfect, but at least there's some movement in us learning a different way of arguing.
Excellent. Well, I just want to thank you both for the hard work you did today. Nobody can make you do that. You chose to enter the tough conversation and to do the hard work. So I look forward to seeing you again next week. Break. Okay, that was not easy. Oh my gosh, there's so many steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron's
Thank
face,
you.
man. Aaron's
I
face. is
couldn't look
cracking
at,
me up.
I couldn't watch him.
I should have turned off my screen.
Ah,
Not at
I didn't
all.
look at him at all. I'm like trying to read my notes. I'm like, what comes next? Thank you guys for also keeping me on track when like we weren't speaking to the right person, all that kind of stuff. All right, process time. Go for it.
Great job, Rosaria, with setting it up. Like you spent a good solid amount of time explaining what we're doing, why we're doing it, talking about the dreams behind the conflict and how our goal is not to solve the problem, but to move to, you know, the dialogue instead of gridlock. And you gave both Steve and Krista here time to ask questions, and you answered them, and they gave you pushback and started using the 4 horsemen. You're like, now remember, we're gonna put those aside here for a minute.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I thought you helped us like go deeper too, like what's going on here. Their
Those
value.
questions, right? They're
Mhm.
good.
Yeah, I felt like you know, the purpose of the exercise you were able to explain, and it seemed easy for you, like there wasn't any question about it. You had confidence in being able to explain it. You were able to redirect us, kind of help us be more on target, I guess. It just, I don't know, it felt really natural. It felt good.
Oh, good.
As you were going through it. Yep. And yeah, yeah, it was good.
Okay. Feel free to bring constructive criticism, guys. If anything didn't feel right or good, please share.
I have
I was
one thing.
impressed with,
Go ahead, Pamela.
I'm just impressed with like your demeanor and how you carried yourself while you're sitting in a Panera and doing all of this, like, and just like your energy with us and your pace with us. I felt very like it was inviting and warm. I didn't feel like I felt like I wanted to lean into you and into the exercise. So
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, one thing Julia did in the video that I think you could tap into is she really drew out Steve's fear of not wanting to do the activity. Like, Steve, you're a doctor. You've seen a lot of crazy stuff happen to kids, and you know, tell me about that. Oh yeah, no, I've seen people get all sorts of banged up as a doctor, and yeah, and kind of like tapping into that fear. She intervened, kind of went one-on-one a little bit, and
Yeah.
then handed it back to Krista. So you could have done something like that, or the age difference. She talked about that too.
Yeah, no, that's good. I went with that a little bit more on the Krista side, as in like the health issue, like what took you to,
Right.
because I wasn't sure if I should copy it exactly. But yes, for sure. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I would probably say a little bit of that, because when I started off speaking, I kept explaining things to you and not to her.
Right.
And then she started getting upset about it, and I thought, what would it look like if, even if it was hard for me and I wasn't feeling heard, why wasn't I feeling heard? Like, was she able to reflect what I was feeling, like I was feeling alone, I was feeling not included, and I don't feel like she was able to reflect that. Maybe she was,
And
but
I probably should have jumped in and given her a little bit more language.
yeah, but I mean, the way you yeah, the way you redirected out of Panera, 110% major props.
Thanks. Okay, good. Do we have anything else that we want to share, guys?
I think we're good.
Oh,
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
meeting time, we should